It's hump day. Welcome into First Take. Thank you guys for hanging with us. Here with Skip Bayless, I am Molly Karam. Stephen A. is in his hometown of New York. Gentlemen, good morning. Stephen A., how you feeling?
Well, I'm getting there. It's just beautiful to be back home in New York City instead of in Cleveland, Ohio. No disrespect to Cleveland, the folks in Cleveland. Great sports town. Love the people. Can't stand the cold weather coming off of Lake Erie. I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing.
Cleveland, I love you. I got your back. I wish I were there today because I miss you, Cleveland.
No, so go ahead and lie to them. Go ahead and lie to them. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Stephen A. had to take his talents to New York.
Yeah.
All right. We ready to work, gentlemen?
Yes.
Let's do this. Do the Broncos think Patriots quarterback Tom Brady is a crybaby? Defensive end Antonio Smith telling the Colorado Springs Gazette that would be an accurate statement. I've never seen any quarterback look to the referee right after he gets sacked more than Brady. Every time he gets sacked, he looks at the ref like, you see him sack me? Was that supposed to happen? He did it a little hard. Please throw a 15-yard penalty on him. Get him fined. Malik Jackson echoed those remarks on Pro Football Talk Live Tuesday. Brady is a whiner who throws temper tantrums, and he has crybaby tendencies after being hit. Stephen A., do the Broncos have a point?
Well, listen, I can't say whether or not they have a point because I'm not on the field with him. If he's crying and that's what they interpret it as being, so be it. My point is that whatever the case may be, no matter how much he's crying, evidently it's not enough because he's usually ending up winning, not losing. So when I look at it from that perspective, I'm certainly not going to go that route. And I do believe that people try to get at Brady just a little bit extra, but at the same time, it's plausible that he might have been crying, particularly this year with Skip crying every week about how Tom Brady doesn't have any help at the offensive line. I mean, I definitely think it's one of those situations where, with Skip crying about him, clearly Tom Brady has let it be known that there's some excessive treatment that he receives sometimes, and some things that he believes is beyond the pale. I do definitely believe that he also tries to maximize every nugget of the rule that comes with it to protect these quarterbacks, because Tom Brady does tend to turn around and look at the refs constantly whenever he gets hit upon letting go of the ball. I mean, it could have been right when he got rid of the ball, and he still looks at somebody and says, what's up with that? Are you not going to call them, for an excessive penalty or roughing the passer? Do something. He does talk to the referees a little bit too much as far as I'm concerned, but at the same time, in no way does it take away from his greatness. I think people that say that about him to some degree try to take away from the greatness that he has put on display for years. I don't believe that to be the case. But can Tom Brady shut the hell up sometimes and stop whining a little bit? Yeah, I think you can make a case about that.
Now, allow me to preface my remarks by saying I'm the only one on the show who has any objectivity about Tom Brady. You know, I actually get him, understand him, keep him in perspective. So I'm about to educate you about what's operating here. I'll be the first to say that both of these Denver Broncos have a point. I think that Tom Brady often comes across to the opposition as a crybaby, game after big game after big game. But I think they are misinterpreting why he comes across as a crybaby. Now I'm back to what I've been trying to drive home to you to get through your thick head for show after show after show. What is my favorite nickname for big game Tom Brady?
Psycho Tom.
Psycho Tom. This is all about Psycho Tom. I've tried to tell you again and again, in all my years, I've never seen a franchise quarterback, a star quarterback, react and overreact as emotionally as Tom Brady does during big games. Not every game, not your basic run-of-the-mill Dolphins game, but these big games, I want to see Psycho Tom emerge, where he plays irrationally, almost out of control. Now, the point here is, the bottom line to this discussion is, no athlete since Michael Jordan can channel his emotions any better, his competitive emotions, any better than Tom Brady can. It does not affect his performance. In fact, it enhances his performance. But I'm the first to sit right here in this chair Monday after Monday and say, he was crazy competitive yesterday. He's yelling and he's screaming. Now, he doesn't trash talk the opposition, but he's yelling at his teammates.
You don't know that.
No, well, I don't think he does. I've never heard anybody say that. I've never heard one opponent accuse him of trash talking them. But he will turn to the referee and scream, that was this, that was that. How can you do the left?
Hold it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to modify your point in this regard.
No,
He might not instigate it. He might not instigate it, but he responds. What about when the Steelers talked smack about him a couple of years ago and he targeted the guy and then ran all the way down to the end zone just to get in his face and say something?
No,
just to get in his face and say something. That's what I'm saying.
All right, but he won't. Yeah, he won't start it. He won't start it. I agree with you. But he will yell at everybody, and he will yell happy or he'll yell frustrated. He'll yell so happy that he'll run all the way to the end zone. And I keep telling you, I've never seen a quarterback do this, to face mask bump with Gronkowski after throwing him a touchdown pass. He'll go and hug his offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, after a big play or a late play or winning a game against the Kansas City Chiefs in Foxborough last weekend. That's Brady. But he's channeling it the correct way. But to my point, I saw this on 6 o'clock Sports Center last night. I don't know if you did, Stephen A. It was NFL Films version of Brady mic'd up, and we got to hear some of this, and then I got to hear Darren Woodson's reaction to it coming out of that piece last night. Just quickly, let's check out a piece of what we saw on 6 o'clock Sports Center.
Sure, I didn't see it, so.
Oh, ref! Wrong, we haven't subbed! Oh, what are we doing? Why? Why are you blowing the whistle? He's not stopped, he's right there! Yes! Yes!
Just listening to Brady, he sounds like an offensive lineman. He doesn't sound like a quarterback. He sounds like an offensive lineman or something. You know?
What are you used to hearing back during your playing days?
Not a quarterback to act that way. Most quarterbacks are real quiet, cerebral guys. They're nice guys. This guy's different. Brady is different.
He is different. Again, I've never seen anything like this dude and the way he carries himself during a big football game. We just saw Psycho Tom. And yet, if I'm a Bronco or any other opponent in a playoff situation, big game situation, I'm going to call him a crybaby because he comes across that way because he's constantly looking to the referee like, how dare you? How can you? And then sometimes we didn't see this. There's another piece to this where he apologized. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away. He gets carried away almost every play when he's being Psycho Tom. I hope I see Psycho Tom in Denver this weekend because when I see Psycho Tom, I know I got a shot if I pick the Patriots to win the game. So, yep, call him a crybaby all you want. It goes in one of his ears and out the other one. He doesn't care because he's not even rational when he's that guy. He doesn't know he's that crazy.
Let's understand something, and in fairness, listen, Tom Brady is great. He's a future Hall of Famer, maybe the greatest quarterback of our generation, one of the greatest of all time. Nobody's here to impugn the greatness or the integrity of Tom Brady. But let's understand something here, too. We are talking about the game of football. And in the game of football, when you're between those lines, as physical and as violent as the sport is, anytime you come across as giving the impression that you're looking for some kind of edge that deviates away from the physical, it annoys individuals that have to rely upon the physical. Like, for example, if you're Tom Brady, because of the greatness that you've put on display, although, again, I think we got to be careful about the crybaby tag because he is one of the greatest and we know that he can play. The flip side to it is that if you are a defensive player having to go up against him, mano y mano per se, 11 on 11, you got to understand that it's one of those situations because of the cachet that Tom Brady brings to the table, whereas one of them can't yell at the official and whine to the official and complain to the official incessantly and get away with it. He might be able to pull that off. In their eyes, it's highly offensive because that's not about football. That's almost an unfair advantage because subjectivity comes into play and he might get an edge that somebody else doesn't have because they're not Tom Brady and he is. So those are the kind of things that you have to think about when you hear words like whining and crybaby and stuff like that because they may not have the edge. That harkens me back, Skip, to years ago when the Indianapolis Colts were going to play the Pittsburgh Pittsburgh Steelers in a playoff game. The Pittsburgh Steelers actually won that game, but the Indianapolis Colts coming in were heavily favored. I remember Joey Porter coming into that game and lamenting all the accolades that are thrown in the direction of Peyton Manning. Yeah, he's cerebral. Yes, he can throw the football and he could play, but he engages in all of that trickery and all of that other stuff. You know, every single time he's trying to catch you off sides, he's trying to do this, he's trying to do that. Well, if you're supposed to be the man, why don't you just come up and go at us and let's play some football? Now, that was a roundabout way of what I'm trying to get to. When you have guys, that's what the danger is about the NFL being selective about who's marketed and the elevation of somebody's profile and cachet, because what happens is that when they become box office, they have a level of cachet and stature that most others don't have. So then when you use that to your advantage by going on the field and being in a referee's ear, barking in the official's ears every chance you get, somehow, some way, football guys are going to believe that's going to work against them and to the advantage of that particular player that has that stature. I can understand where they're coming from in that regard. So we just need to make sure that we understand where they're coming from. It's not like they're saying, oh, Tom Brady is just a baby. He's just whining. What they're saying is, you're already great. You've already done this. Why do you have to use these extra tools available to you to take advantage and exploit us when you know that's not fair, because we don't have that kind of cachet? We can't whine incessantly at the officials and get away with it like you can.
Stephen A. Smith, I ask you, do you believe that Tom Brady gets breaks or benefit of the doubt from today's referees?
Absolutely.
Do you remember this thing called Deflategate? Do you remember what happened?
So,
in the court of public opinion, Tom Brady was convicted outside of Patriot Nation as a cheater who lied about it. And do not think for 1 second. Don't think for 1 second that didn't infiltrate the psyches, the subconscious of a lot of those referees who probably on a lie detector today would tell you, yeah, we think he cheated and got away with it. That's what they would tell you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I get that point. My flip side to it is that I've openly said I find it very difficult to believe that a quarterback didn't know that a football was deflated.
Okay.
However, who gives a damn? Because I don't care if he was throwing Nerf footballs. Nothing takes away from the greatness that this man possesses and what he has put on display on the football field. So the officials would probably sit there and say to you, Skip, the same thing. Don't anything take away from the greatness of this boy right here. This brother can play. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
Nobody would take that away from Tom Brady.
Okay, I got you. But remember, in the end, all these referees are league men because they are league employees. Tom Brady has taken on the league, challenged the league, and beaten the league in court. And the NFL, as we all know, has not given up on that battle. They're still fighting in court on appeal. So just remember that weighs on the psyches of the referees also.
And what I would ask you that should weigh on your psyche is that, remember, just because you're employed by people don't mean you like them or that you agree with them. Every single human being that works in corporate America and beyond got bosses that they don't like, got industries that they or a company that they work for that they ain't too fond of. Now that would not happen to be me. I happen to be a very happy man. But the bottom line is you got some people that, you know, they ain't like that. Yeah. So I mean that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
Okay. So bottom line to this discussion, from this point forward, are you going to continue to ridicule me for using the nickname Psycho Tom, the way you roll your eyes and sarcastically dismiss me every time I use the term?
Yes, I will. And here's why. It has nothing to do with the veracity of your statements. It's just that I think that, I mean, you Skip Bayless, man. I mean, and you hanging out with me every day on this show, so that automatically means you got style. I really don't understand how you could. I mean, you're sitting next to, you know, Miss Connecticut right there, and we all know how sensational she is. I don't understand how you could be around such style, such grace, such beauty, and have such a corny name. You couldn't come up with something better than Psycho Tom.
Corny
That's
name?
my only problem with it. I think it should be something more catchy.
You know what? He might be the corniest superstar I've ever known.
Man.
Seriously.
No.
Wait. Hold on. Time out.
Go ahead.
This is the guy on Thanksgiving who dressed up like a turkey, hid in a pile of leaves, and jumped out and scared the heck out of his two kids standing there.
Cute.
It's cute, corny to me. I think that's flat out corny. He posted it on what, Facebook or wherever he posted the video.
He does love Facebook.
He loves
only
Facebook.
social media.
I didn't realize that.
You gotta admit that's corny.
It's a corny nickname for a corny guy.
Skip, I will say this. I am not a woman, okay? But I will say this. When you sit there and you see Tom Brady in those Tom Ford blazers or those suits and along with his supermodel wife, Tom Brady and corny doesn't exactly vibe with the general public. I know. Listen, I've got my sisters. I know women, black, white, it doesn't matter. They'll sit up there. We're talking about Tom Brady and football, and they're going like this. Did you see that man come out to that courthouse in that blue suit? Whoa, Tom Brady's something special. This is what these women say all the time. Tom Brady and corny ain't the stuff that come together in this day and age. I'm trying to tell you, you don't think corny when you think about Tom Brady. You go like this. That brother kind of smooth. He's kind of smooth right now. That's what you do.
You're looking at it very superficially as usual, and that's okay. I get it.
All right. Yeah. All right. Ain't never. Hey, listen. Ernestine, you can sit there and think she's just with you for your glowing personality all you want to. She likes what she sees when she looks at Skip Bayless.
She does.
You better not get it twisted.
Him in the gym.
You can talk superficial all you want to. You understand? That's what makes the world go round, baby.
Disagreeing with
you understand? You know,
she wouldn't disagree with that.
She's got the whole package, Ernestine. She's a smart one. Clearly, Stephen A.
That's the Skip I know.
Clearly, Stephen A. feels better.
Go ahead, boy.
He does.
Go ahead,
He's
Mac Daddy.
today.
Go ahead.
I like it.
I love happy Stephen A.
Happy Stephen A.
All right. So, Crybaby, Psycho Tom, best ever, whatever you want to call him. He is making his 10th appearance in the AFC Championship game, 6-3 in his first 9. So, speaking of Brady, is Tom the most resented athlete in the NFL? This debate is going to be live later in the show, but first we want to throw it out to you guys on Twitter. Cast your vote in our poll on Twitter right now, and stay tuned for the fireworks and the results. It's going to be a great conversation a little later on. Meanwhile, Broncos cornerback Chris Harris Jr. said Tuesday during